Men and women. This is such an interesting topic because there's this duality, there's this difference, yet this similarity, where nowadays we want everyone to be the same, act the same way, have the same rights, which I agree. We should have the rights. We should have the power to choose. And if you are a man or a woman watching, you also have the choice to disagree, the choice to refuse the information that I'm going to share. I accept that. Meanwhile, I have felt this calling where I've been wanting to expand on what I'm reading. I curated my life in a very specific way where I get to read a lot, to travel, meet people, and in the same instance, get this knowledge, get this information that I also feel the desire to share. So, men and women, I was just having this conversation earlier over the phone, and it was so powerful. I don't know exactly how it's going to come across, how I'll feel inspired to share it, but I'm going to do the best that I can to translate the most powerful ideas that were shared. So let's start with the masculine and feminine energy. Let's start there. The way I understand feminine and masculine energy is a spectrum where at the very end of each you have very strong characteristics that are fully masculine or fully feminine. And the more you get closer to the middle, the more it blends. So perhaps something that is inherently feminine is empathy, as well as community, as well as creativity. And now we can start to walk a little bit more towards the masculine end of the spectrum where everyone can benefit from these three things. Don't we agree? And you get to disagree. So if you disagree, that's okay. I will not be mad at you. And at the end of the masculine spectrum, we have authority. We can have selfishness. We can have ambition, drive, but most importantly, self-sufficiency. And don't we agree that on some level, all of these characteristics are beneficial to a man and a woman that lives in the 21st century and has to emancipate themselves? You'll notice that I will focus on men and women. So this will be very straightforward, black and white, because I am this way. And if you are looking for something else, there is plenty of videos with people that have a more diverse and nuanced take on a lot of things. So whatever you are looking for, if I can't give it to you, don't hate me for it. Look for someone who can. And it's funny, as I'm saying this also is the principle I was talking about when I talked to my friend about feminine and masculine energy, more so how to be a woman in this day and age, how to exude your femininity, how to dive into a side of you that is so powerful, so beautiful, and so precious. Yet we make it feel less precious by giving it away very quickly to the first person who displays a little bit of interest. And no, I am not talking about sex in this example. I am talking about your beautiful, powerful, feminine energy. And of course, I'm addressing myself to women. I know there will be men watching, and I am sure there is going to be a part of this conversation or this monologue, perhaps, but I want to include you in the conversation. So use the comment space, let yourself be known. What do you think? I'm opening a conversation. I don't want it to be a monologue, or else I would just record this and not post it. So I'm not talking about sex when I say you're giving it away very quickly to the first person. This has to do with your powerful creative energy, your essence as a woman. While on the spectrum that I just talked about, I can completely see that everyone benefits from both energies. Not everyone needs to become everything. But sometimes we have been let down so much that we do feel the need to become everything. In one hand, it could be because we don't trust people to give to us without ulterior motives. We have had bad experiences giving away our trust to people who were dedicated to taking and not giving to us. And this has led a lot of us to attempt to become everything. But like I said, and on the spectrum, so very masculine and very feminine. And that is more so woman, I will say, in this day and age. And it's not necessarily because you consciously was thinking about it and was thinking, I must become manly. But perhaps you've been let down. You have trusted someone that has shown you they were not worthy of your trust. And it became the more responsible option to fully become everything. I want to start by saying that before you meet your partner, you will have to become a blend of both. Because realistically, you cannot wait for someone to save you from the poor situation you've put yourself in. As an example, being self-sufficient, okay, that is inherently masculine, and that is from the book The Laws of Human Nature, by Robert Greene. There's other references, but if the book comes to mind, the main book that influenced my mindset for that specific thing, I'll make sure to say it because I read a lot of books and I love learning. So it is said that masculine energy is something that we all have and that we all need to a certain degree. And we cannot fight against nature the same way that little boys display more emotions early on, but are way more dismissed for showing them. They are taught at an early age that it is not okay to display such emotions, and that there is inherently no value in what will be the foundation of your life, to just focus on your feelings and that's it. But sometimes it's done in a very harsh way that can traumatize some little boys and make them learn to suppress all emotions. Because we want to be so good to our parents most of the time, even if they're not good parents. And by good parents, I mean objectively caring for your needs, giving you shelter, food, the basic, as well as paying attention to you, supporting you, being there for you emotionally. And this is where both parents kind of have different roles. But even if you have none of that, perhaps just food and shelter with your parents, at a younger age, you want to be accepted by your parents. You want them to love you. So you are going to listen. And if daddy is saying, stop being a bitch, come back to me when you are done being a said word, you are going to be tempted to do that because you want to have their approval and you need the shelter, and it's the survival. We are animals at the end of the day with a consciousness. And that is why I'm making this video. Even if we were just animals or a subdivision of animals, I would not be making this. I would not be reading books. So there is something to say about the power of consciousness, utilizing it, cherishing it. For me, it is like going to the gym. When I work out, it is not necessarily to have X, Y, and Z type of physique. It's because I'm grateful to be healthy, to have a body, to be a woman. And I want to enhance that in any way that I can. And you really show your appreciation through actions. So that is an example. But all of that to say, when you are trying to comply with your parents as a little boy, perhaps, and you decide to shut down your emotions, a lot of the time, these people suppress happiness as well, excitement as well. Fighting with anger is probably the hardest one for little boys, as when we think of little boys as being more emotional, we're thinking, well, they're not that much more emotional. They're not sad, but anger is an emotion. Feeling frustrated and then acting on it is an emotion. Being violent results from a trigger, an emotion. Being excited, and a lot of little boys have a diagnosis of ADHD. I was going to say it in French, but ADHD. Because they are so emotional, it's not always, in my opinion, that they have ADHD. It's more so that they are more emotional by nature as little boys. Little girls tend to be more docile, calm, able to do their one little thing. But we learn through time that our emotions are valuable. They hold power. Now you're going to be thinking, wow, you've taken me through a route of ideas, but remember, you were telling me about the masculine and the feminine energy spectrum. But even more so before that, you were talking about giving away energy to the wrong people. And that leads us to believe that we have to become cold as women. We have to guard ourselves up. Moreover, I'm trying a new word. I've never said moreover in my life. So if it's not the right word, please lay forgiveness over my head. I've said that as a woman, if you give your energy to the wrong person to begin, you're going to build that belief, and you'll continue to carry that belief that either people are not worthy of your care, or that people will use it against you or will deceive you, and so you build up walls to protect yourself, which I agree. That is what you should be doing. We're going to talk about it. I have no timeline. I'm not trying to do this quickly. I'm not trying to speak fast to reassure your rotting brain if you're doing too much TikTok scrolling. So luckily you can speed up this video if that's what you need. But this is a deep legacy project for me. It means a lot. I've spent all these years reading, educating myself, meeting people, and learning about other people's relationships, not only with their partners, if there was any, on any level, so it could be the husband, the wife, but also to themselves. And so when we are disappointed over and over again, It's okay to build walls. You should protect yourself, matter of fact, but you should not do it out of resentment as a woman, because your feelings are so important and they are so powerful. And the more you become resentful to people, the more you consume that. And I suspect this is how we age faster or worse. When we are subjecting ourselves to a lot of stress, when we are constantly doubting people instead of observing. And this is where I think we can learn from one another. Meaning, for men, it is important to learn to reconnect with your emotions through time, because your emotions are going to make or break the quality of your life, quite honestly. Unless you are on the antisocial personality spectrum, your emotions are going to carry you through life. But luckily, a woman in your life can help you do that. You don't have to do all the work by yourself, and you shouldn't hate yourself for not being able to tap in your emotions if you've learned to suppress it so far. And that goes for empathy as well, and being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes. And it's the same then for women. We cannot hate ourselves for putting up walls and being protective. And the reason you are being protective with yourself in any way that you are doing right now, because sometimes the way we are protecting ourselves is not the best way, but it's the only way we know. That can be pushing people away. That can be doing the self-sabotage. That could be saying something you don't mean for the sake of pushing someone away. So, in one hand, we cannot hate men for not being tapped into their emotions, as they are trained to dissociate from them. Especially in the 21st century, there is very little value for a man who ultimately will want to provide for his woman in feeling his feelings deeply in any other way than utilizing them as a source of motivation, as a source of power. You're going through some pain, that pain carries you through the next project, etc. So the relationship we have with our emotions as men and women are completely different. For men, an emotional wound can be utilized to fill his cup to then pour into the cup of a woman. And when he gets access to that powerful feminine energy, eventually he will learn to reconnect with his deep emotional world, which was so present in him to begin, because that's what he craves deep down, and this is what he needs from his partner. But us as women, we have learned to become cold, to be detached. We are learning steps on how to play, how to manipulate, how to take advantage, which is inherently masculine. But going back to the spectrum, people are different, meaning you are not the optimal woman by being the most feminine. It simply means that your match is going to be the most masculine. And if you are a woman who is a little bit more in the middle, then your match is going to be a little bit more in the middle. However, if you are perhaps a very masculine woman and you're trying to attract a masculine man, there will be a clash, because you both want to win. Be selfish. You both want to actualize, and it's hard to amplify one another by doing the same thing. If anything, these relationships have some power if both partners can utilize each other as competition. So if you are a hyper-masculine woman and you are satisfied in that, meaning you feel no confusion in your life, You are a high achiever. You love creating to generate, and you are able to tap into some of your inherent mystical feminine quality through a lot of ambition, drive, and self-actualization, then my advice would be, do not spend a second trying to change your nature, but find the person who is able to enhance that in you and give that to you. The same way when we guard ourselves as women, because we've been hurt before, because a lot of men are little boys that are still hurt and haven't learned how to use the feelings to maximize their ambition and maximize their success. They feel a victim because they haven't grieved yet the difficulties of being a man, the sacrifices that it will require. They haven't grieved yet the fact that they are not a woman, that they cannot gain from victimizing themselves. And it is a sad realization as a man to realize that you have to be so strong. You have to provide. I suppose I'm seeing it from an empathetic point of view. Perhaps for a man it would be a completely different story, and I completely stand by that. But this is my interpretation. There comes a point where it has to be sad to realize that you cannot feel and be valued through that. You just have to do and to provide. But it's like the pyramid of grief. At some point you get to the top, which is love, and you understand that you were meant to be that way, to shine in your household, in your personal life, with the ones that you value, with the ones that care for you. That is my belief. Now I want to go back to us women and how we have been hurt. And I was saying we've been hurt. Why? Because a lot of guys are still little boys and they haven't grieved yet that sad reality, to then use that pain to get better and eventually to become a man. The idea of the provider that we have, which goes deeper than just financial, of course. Providing is going to be dependent on where you stand on the spectrum. A great woman with tons of ambition could hold space for a man who wants to make her shine, but only the woman who has come to term with that and the man who has come to term with himself can find each other where they need to. A lot of confusion comes from the fact that people, well, from my opinion, I'm saying the fact, but comes from my idea, my interpretation of people getting hurt, actually. Let's say it this way. Because I'm not here to be the Messiah or to tell you how to think. For a lot of people, this is going to be too black and white. But these are not the people I'm talking to. You understand? For a lot of people, a lot of women that have been hurt, they lack the vision to see that it is not entirely their fault. You have nothing to change. You just need to protect yourself better and understand what are you doing to protect yourself, to which level you need to protect yourself, what are the steps you must take to protect yourself. Why should you protect yourself? Because a lot of men are inherently selfish. And I'm giving this example, okay, from my conversation earlier over the phone. Basically, my friend was saying that his friend had a wonderful girl. She was a good girl, and he is a man. Okay, he's that guy. Respectable, good values, control his lust, very, very rare kind of man. So this is why I'm even adding this example in this video. I value someone's advice that is at that level. His friend was seeing this girl, and it took a long time for the guy, let's call him Alfred, and let's call the woman Alfredo. No, that's crazy. Okay, do better with examples. Let's call this guy Ali, and then let's call the lady Sophie. Why am I struggling with just giving fake names? So Ali meets Sophie. Sophie likes him right away. Sophie is a woman with a good soul, good heart. She's giving, she's caring, she's beautiful, kind soul. You can see it in the eyes. Sophie wants Ali to be in a relationship with her. So what does she do? She stops seeing other people. She decides to stop seeing other people, completely focus her attention on him. Meanwhile, Ali had no idea and continued to sleep with other women. As I assume he was sleeping with her, that is a detail I don't know. I did not ask for. It is not my business, but we can only assume that he was already being intimate with her for her to be that attached or really wanting him that bad, considering that she is top tier woman. And so after 2 years of hanging out, they finally become a couple. And after another couple of years, he cheats. And Sophie feels terrible because she is the nice girl, she gives, she's caring, she's feminine, she's everything. But why is she receiving the least? Okay? I have so many things to tell you. First of all, don't be Sophie as a woman. Protect your energy. And we are going to remove the sexual aspect out of it, okay, just for the sake of this example. Even giving your care, your love, your affection, your undivided attention to someone who hasn't proved themselves to you, because get this straight, a man who has done the process of going from boy to man is excited to show you the man he is. He wants you to feel safe around him, and he understands that a lot of people are stupid. And stupidity isn't painful. So a lot of people are okay going all their life being stupid. This man, Ali, was receiving something he knew deep down he was not ready for. He did not deserve. And Sophie saw the potential in him. And she said, well, let's give him what he needs to become that great man. Because Sophie knew deep down the power of femininity and how we elevate our partner. As women, we are multipliers. So if a man has done the work on himself, has accepted his place in society as a man, the emotional absence that he must endure for such a long time, but then can find finally refuge, this is in French, refuge. You have to learn some French words, okay, through this channel. He can finally find, I hate the word peace in this context because that's not exactly what I'm trying to convey. So let's use the French word refuge. Il a trouvé refuge. D'accord? In this woman. A man who has done the work must be excited to then share something with someone who he values and who completes some parts of him. You are not trying to become everything. You are trying to become the best you and find your best match. But someone who has done no work or not enough for you will never feel worthy of what you are giving and will be committed to making you feel stupid for it by punishing you. Yet you're thinking, I'm doing everything right. I should be rewarded. And technically, you should. I agree. However, this is simply not how the world works. We have a lot of things to unlearn. There's a lot of toxicity going around as well. And some people are unaware of their power as a man, and they prefer to stay complacent, stay at a certain level all their life. And get this, I am not saying that you have to become the best man, the best masculine man ever. Just be the best you. And for some people, what I'm talking about right now will make no sense because they cannot see life from that perspective. And it's okay. That perspective is not better or worse, it's just different. So some people are not meant to dive in their divine masculine, divine feminine, and merge and collide two worlds that are meant to complete and uplift each other, where the woman multiply and the man provides. So let's use another example. And by the way, while these are fictional names, this is a real story. This girl was punished for being so good. It's not because she was too good. It's because she was too good too quick before evaluating if the man in front of her was even standing a chance to see that of her. It takes time. And what people sense when you give so quick as a woman, because the man should be excited to give quick. He has waited his life for this. Or most of his life for this. Love rules the world. And love, I believe, is the only thing that is real. It could be the love of self, the love of others, the love of the creation, the love of the creator, the love of love even. How we romanticize love in movies. We are obsessed with love. But the energy of love is what is real. It's carrying us through times. And it's something that has been there since the beginning of times as well. No matter where you stand in your ideology and your philosophy. So, when you give to someone before evaluating the caliber of man that they are as a woman, they sense that desperation and they want to make you pay for it, because men are action driven, so they are going to punish you with actions. It is not that you deserved it. It is not that you are too good. Please remain as good as you are. Keep those beautiful qualities. And the issue is that as a woman, we are so empathetic, but we're always so quick to make ourselves the problem. What did I do? What can I change? Is it because I gained a couple pounds? Is it because I gained a little bit of muscles and I'm too this or that? Is it because I wasn't caring enough, loving enough? Oh, I should become more cold then and play with men because I can never be myself around. Every example I gave removes your power from you. And you guys may know me from the famous TikTok, a couple million views on this one, where I'm telling you I'm that close to the camera. I did some crazy things to get your attention online. Okay, I did some crazy things. But that was to send a powerful message though, which is, looks like you forgot how powerful you are. It holds weight. Your power as a woman, you must understand that you create. Life comes from you. Think of it this way. The baby you are birthing has a spirit, a soul. It comes from you. How you feel about yourself influences that. How you feel about your worth influences that. Who you let in influences that. And that can be on the physical, sexual aspect, as well as the emotional aspect. Because as a woman, when you don't see your power, you are going to entertain men that are trying to dim your light. Perhaps you express yourself in a certain way, very expressive. Let's say you are a woman and you love to talk. You are going to continue to entertain men who make you feel stupid for thinking this deep as a way to self-harm and dim your light, and therefore remove your power and give it to this guy. And these are not the quality men that have their cups full and that are excited to pour into yours. No, these are the little boys that take from women because they haven't received from mommy. And this is not exclusive to men. There is also this whole trying to find the father in other men's for women. But now in this video, I want to focus on energy exchange, and self-respect. So let's focus on that. For men and women. Simple. Let's focus on that. So as a woman, you must test. Make sure that this man is who he says he is, and make sure you feel appreciated for your gifts, as if you give them to the right person. And I don't just mean romantically, I also mean choosing the right friends, the right circle around you. You'll see that they will multiply. You'll feel more inspired, more uplifted, more eager to give. It is going to become a part of you that you learn to love, even if it was dismissed in your childhood. Therefore, it is extremely important that you don't just endure people for the sake of having someone around, send out that desperation vibration to an unhealed boy that will smell that, take it from you, take your power away, and make himself more powerful. And these men that have authority over unaware women will make it their source of power. And you'll see they won't do that to other men because they know their lane. They know that other men would clock it. They wouldn't tolerate it. But as a woman, we have such a deepness to us emotionally and a core empathy that we can excuse, we can relate, we can understand. We can project ourselves in someone's situation, but yet it will still result in someone taking your power away from you, an unhealed boy. So with this point, I want to emphasize, once again, you don't have to be fully masculine, fully feminine. Learn where you stand. Read the book, The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. Great book. Very to the point, very simple. I don't have to read all the chapters. There's a lot of historical examples to whatever he is displaying, but there's interesting stats, interesting stories as well. So I recommend it, because why not? But you must accept yourself. And when you do, the partners you are given will match what you need, and you'll continue to evolve. But make sure there is respect, and make sure you are giving that side of you to someone who is worthy of it. Because the worst thing is a woman giving herself to someone who isn't worthy and trying to dumb herself down, trying to make herself less, so that the men could feel more. Which kind of men would want that? A kind of man that ultimately is very afraid of the very thing he seeks. The femininity. the emotional world, the power that woman gives. And of course, you don't have to have a relationship that gives you everything. We'll talk about this in another video, where it's okay if the shortcoming of the man that you value, that has shown to be of great quality, is his emotional wound and he is just not able to overcome it. This is where girlfriends are here for. This is where other women are here for. I always feel better when I go to my girlfriends to talk about my own emotional troubles, 100% of the time. But let's dive into the other point I want to tell you about, which is, and we're going to finish with this because it's still a long video, but I feel like there's a lot of value. As a woman, you have a cup. The man has a cup. The man spends his life early on filling his cup. It is not just to pour into yours that is empty. Because if they do, you're going to feel like you need them to be a little bit more of who you are. And that your well-being fully depends on them before they have earned the right to take care of you. Okay? Meaning, using a man is not as powerful as using your pain as a woman, your suffering, your gifts, or your talents. And you must learn to navigate that spectrum of femininity and masculinity and go a little bit more on the masculine end at the beginning of your life so that you can set yourself up, have a job, have a place, have an education, have care for your body, care for your mental health. I spent years working on my own traumas to make sure that when I meet my partner, I'm not just projecting that onto them. So you have work to do as a woman as well when it comes to making yourself ready for your partner. But the reason this is important is so that you don't become desperate and you don't tolerate behaviors that are decreasing your power, decreasing your light. As you are the one creating life, you are the source of softness, of warmth in this world, even if you are a masculine woman. Because softness is not a look, it's not a tone, it's not an attitude. It's a warmth. It's a feeling. And you get less and less in touch with your feelings the more you are trying to twist yourself from the brain and not from the heart to be more of what this person needs you to be so that you can get something you should give yourself first. Okay? So we will talk about this in the next episode. As a woman, how to prepare for a relationship and how to make sure you are not desperate. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Masha Katasonov, and I also have an ASMR channel. If you want to check that out, I'll link it in the description. That was my first attempt at sharing my knowledge, but it felt right to have a space where, with no expectations, I can simply be myself with you and enjoy this time. I appreciate you spending the time once again, and I'll see you soon.